Hi, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Ask Elly Intuitive Insights and Your Questions Answered. Well, today is July 20th, and I am your hostess, Elly Molina. For those of you who do not know me, I am an international intuitive advisor. I am a consultant and the author of a few books. One of them is an Amazon bestseller known as Children Who Know How to Know. And then we have Annabelle and the Domino and another collaborative book, which was written with Betsy Chassey, the producer of What the Bleep. And I also do consulting, psychic readings, and have programs available. So you can learn more about myself and my work at www.ellymolina.com. And today, my guest is Julie Skon. She is a life and trauma healing and integrative wellness coach. So, good morning, Julie. How are you? I'm so
Good
happy to have you
morning.
here.
Hi, Ellie. Thank you for having me.
Hi, hi, hi. Good morning.
Good
And
morning.
Julie, I do just before we start talking all about you and our discussion for the today, I always go through a little bit of astrology, just a tiny wee bit, and then I answer questions from people who have either called in or submitted. So I'm going to
Perfect.
start. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the question that I received first in the last few days. And I'm going to go with that. And then we'll take it from there. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So, hi, Ellie. I've been following what you do and began listening to your podcast this morning. Regarding spoon bending, I had been curious to see what this was about and a few weeks ago, and so I looked up some YouTube videos on it. I was pleasantly surprised to have bent the spoon easily and the forks. I could have bent all of them in my silverware drawer, but it seemed especially easy after holding and contemplating them for just a minute or two. And it seems super easy to draw it up to slightly warmed metal, just bending with very little effort. So I tried my butter knives, no dice. Despite having used the same method, the same person in the video used, I could not use my will to do it. I could not do, say, bend a big flat rock. So what I'm wondering is it because I really don't believe the knives or the rock will bend? Obviously, the rock and the butter knife are thicker materials. So, does it just take longer to achieve and you have to really believe it? I want to believe, but I remain skeptical. Just wondered what your thoughts were on this. Thank you, LP. Okay, well, I have a lot of thoughts on that one, LP. So, let's start with congratulations that are able to spoon bend and fork bend, and probably some other things that are easier, that are more malleable to bend, and you probably have that ability now knocked down to a science. Regarding larger objects, now this is my belief. I'm not saying that this is true. I do know that when Sean McNamara was bending, they were bending large steel rods. And you can check that out on YouTube. It's Sean McNamara. And just look up with his rod bending because he had a group of three people and they had really large steel or some sort of metal. I think it was a steel. I think it was steel, and they bent these rods repeatedly. So larger, thicker objects are possible. I think it takes a little bit more belief that it's possible. I think it also takes more patience and more training. Now, I too have not had any success in bending larger objects. And then it was, on a personal note, I kind of gave up and said to myself, all right, well, if I can spoon bend and I can fork bend, then how important is it for me to really bend these other large objects? Is that really where I want to be putting my energy, my attention, and my effort? See, remember, energy goes where attention flows. So I start to look at, this is personal again, LP, I start to look at what do I want to affect with my energy. And one of the things that really got me into all of this spoon bending and telekinesis was a water fountain in front of my home that was going on 24/7. And especially during COVID, when everybody was working from home and it was so quiet outside, this water fountain I found highly annoying. So I spent time turning it off through telekinesis. And I got really good at it until there's a whole long story about that, which I will not go into right now. But I got really good at turning it on. And then at one point, it became turning it on and off. Well, actually, no, turning it off. They always put it back on. I didn't want it on. The management would come turn it back on. Anyway, then at one point, I just said, how much energy do I really want to be putting into this? I could be putting my energy into something more productive. So I contacted management and they put it on a timer. Oh, how brilliant, right? So that was the end of the water fountain story. And now I personally have moved to using telekinesis for more of remote healing. So it's not that I'm moving objects or I'm stopping objects, but I'm using the energy, the same energy that is used for telekinetic abilities. I am now using that towards healing for other people because it's all the same energy. It's just our intention. So, with that being said, I invite you to continue to practice. I know that when the children were moving dominoes, it took them on average 20 minutes of multiple days and weeks of practicing. So it wasn't a one time, I'm going to sit down and move these dominoes. It really took time, focus, energy, and attention. So I leave you with that. Good luck, and let me know if you do end up bending a butter knife or a large steel rod. It would be fascinating to hear back from you. All right. Thanks, LP. I intend that helped. All right. Yeah. So there's not much happening in terms of astrology this week that I want to talk about other than the sun enters Leo. And for all of you Leos out there, happy birthday. This is wonderful. And Julie, I'm coming to you. I just have one more thing to say. There are a lot of astrologers out right now on the internet, and you want to be careful who you listen to. Example, I had a ton of emails coming in last week about the devastation that was going to occur because of Pluto. And, this is not wasn't on my radar. I wasn't feeling anything, and I hadn't even heard about it, honestly, except for the clients that kept sending me emails asking about the great devastation that was going to happen and what they needed to do to prepare. Now, remember, I always say energy goes where attention flows. You want to put your attention on that. You want to be in that frequency. Fine with, so be it. Go to that frequency. Go to fear. But just please, anybody listening to anybody, go do your homework. Trust your sources. Find out who's telling you these things. Find out where this astrological information is coming from. So again, I know we all say, oh, we're so smart and we all know that. And yet, how many times have people fallen victim to believing things that, maybe not true? Anyway, again, just my 2 cents on this one. All right. So, with that being said, good morning to all the people that are with us in the live studio. And welcome, welcome, welcome. And Julie, let's start. Thank you for waiting so
Amazing.
patiently.
Oh, I love that. I just learned a lot as well.
Well, now you can take the girls and start spoon bending. There's
I
a bunch of
mhm.
YouTube videos, and there's a lot of information on that, my own included.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was just thinking. And I'm a Reiki master, and I use like a crystal point, right? And my girls
Mhm.
love that because they'll move that kind of with their mind, but this takes it to a whole nother level. It'd be so fun.
Oh, can you tell us about that right now while we're talking about moving crystals and moving
Yes.
objects? Because maybe LP, who's going to be listening to this, will be interested in in doing this or experimenting with it. I'd love to hear.
Sure. Yeah. So with with Reiki, I guess I can give a little background, but it's all energy. So when you said energy goes where attention flows, to me, that's exactly what Reiki is. So it's an ancient Japanese healing practice that I use to help heal myself and to heal others. So with my practice, it's intuitive, not as intuitive as you, no, but I use a crystal point to kind of measure the energy of the chakras. And Elly, tell me if I need to go more specific into these. But these are the energy centers that line from your tailbone to the crown of your head. And each has a specific kind of purpose for you emotionally, mentally, and physically. So your root is you're grounded in your body, connected to the earth. And as we move up, we go through emotions and the heart and your voice and your intuition and all the way to the crown, which is your kind of connection to the universe and to everything. So when these energy centers are blocked, we naturally feel off. We feel off, off balance, not connected to ourselves. This is where kind of sadness and feelings of depression can creep in, or we're not attracting what it is that we desire. So why Reiki is so amazing is that it's healing this energy, and same with meditation as well, but it's getting it aligned so that we can kind of step into our power, step into being connected to ourselves and to, creating the abundance that we desire. So yes, the crystal point, which you can get at any kind of local crystal store, there's a specific way to kind of hold it where you can move it with your mind, and it will have I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube videos on it, but it has a yes for you, a no for you. You can measure energy, you can do all kinds of things, but absolutely a fun tool to play with that also has purpose.
I love it. I love it. And is it, since I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with the crystal point, so I'm going to go look it up.
That's okay.
Is it similar to using a pendulum, a crystal
Yeah, that's
pendulum?
exactly it. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I just
okay.
blanked on my words because it's 7 a.m. where I am, and they aren't flowing quite yet, but I'm getting there.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you. I acknowledge you for being on the call so early. I forgot that it was 7
Oh, I
at for
love it.
you. And so I acknowledge you for being on the
Mm.
call with us this morning live and getting out of bed and, having your coffee drink or
Yep.
your smoothie, whatever it is. And okay, so now, all right,
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you.
you for having me, Ellie. I've been really looking forward to this, and honestly, my favorite days are when I get up really early. So this is just a treat.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So thank you for that. So, yes, pendulums, as Julie said, pendulums and crystal points work really, really well. I actually have a video on that one too on YouTube. I do have
Amazing.
how to use the pendulum. So if anybody's interested in that, let me self promote and just say go to my YouTube channel
Yes.
and take a look. There is a very short video that I created for some of my clients. Okay, but
Yeah.
let's talk about you, okay? Because I could talk about me forever, but I
I
want to
could
talk
talk about
about,
you forever too.
but I want to talk about when you got started and what you're doing now, and the trauma healing, the integrative
Great.
wellness, and you have such a beautiful presence, and I'd
Mm,
love you to start telling your story, Julie, and your books, because when we met, this was just not even a thought, right?
yeah.
So like, or
No,
kind
so
of,
true.
right? It wasn't
Yeah.
even a thought. Hmm.
Yeah. So when we met, we were introduced through a friend, and I was kind of, looking for inspiration, looking for you to dive in intuitively. And yeah, I'm a single mom of two girls who are amazing. And I still have a small business in gifting, and I was kind of, working around the clock to make things work and also to find my purpose, right? And so God, I don't know how long it's been. It's been years.
It's 2016, if I recall. Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Amazing. Yeah. Um, so I was also, I'll reel it back a little bit. For about, well, let's see, about just over 20 years, I've been kind of focused on healing trauma.
Hmm.
And which is everyone's kind of life journey. Often it just comes in different forms. But I lost my boyfriend to gun violence, and I realized I was kind of, I didn't have the tools or the skill set to heal the kind of grief that I was experiencing. And it took me almost about 10 years until after I had my children and I was going through a divorce that I stepped into realizing, okay, I really need to heal this and get to the source of it, because not only do I want to live a fulfilling life for myself, but I have children and I want to make an impact on other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I started learning I started working with you and with some other guidance, whether it's astrology or whatever, and began kind of a journey of certifications and understanding, everything from becoming a Reiki master. I'm a global meditation teacher. I became certified in spiritual and business coaching, integrative wellness coaching. And I just started laying this foundation for myself first. And when I did my own trauma healing, something clicked and
Mm-hmm.
I felt a huge shift where my trauma, my experiences became my superpower. And it was then that I realized I'm ready to help other people go through their process and kind of unlock the things that are holding them back and to step into their purpose, whatever that may be, and to find more joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my journey, and now we're here in this great place. I just released my second book called Rise. It's my collection of kind of 50 mini mindful morning meditations.
Congratulations. And it's so beautiful. Hmm. It's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you so much. I realized for myself that having work that aligns with what I do, as I said, my favorite mornings are the ones I get up early, and that's not every morning. Sometimes we're ebb and flow, right?
Hmm.
But over about a year, I would write these meditations and do them and practice them, and I just found myself more grounded with the day and more
Yes.
present.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I was like, all right, it's time to get it out there. So here it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's beautiful. And I also read a post that you had put that you use this with your daughters, right? The children, so that or somebody else used it with their daughters, right? Did you read that?
Yes,
So, so
yeah,
this is so awesome for parents, right? Can you share a little bit about that?
yes. So what I found in meditation is, well, these are little 3 to 5 minute meditations. And when I first did the certification course, I was actually a total skeptic, because I was like, there's no way I have an hour in a day to meditate or necessarily want to put an hour into that. And then, of course, you go into training and you do it and you start to feel all of these benefits. But for me, as a busy mama and entrepreneur, and I have a lot of things on my bucket list of what I want to do, it was these little 3 to 5 minute meditations that reduce stress. And for kids, they're super tangible, right? Kids are busy too. So it's like, all right, let's sit down, connect to your breath. All right, what are the little things that you're grateful for today? And
Mm-hmm.
kids
Mm-hmm.
start, this is the first one in the book. It's called Little Things. And these can
Nice.
even be conversations around the dinner table or driving somewhere. Like, all right, guys, what are the little things we're grateful for? So meditation doesn't have to look like this quiet Om Zen room, although it can. It can also just being mindful in the moments of the day, right? They have such a big impact.
Yeah. Are you there? Oh,
Yep,
hello?
yep,
Oh,
yep.
I thought something happened to my to
Uh,
my to my headset.
oh,
No,
technology.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kids are great. Kids don't, again, their attention span, and especially with everything that's been, the way that we're training our children right now, they have very limited attention span. So 3 minutes is great. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's all they need. And the connection and the conversation changes. You know, I'm big on linguistics and into ontology, which is the study of being and language. So it's really important for me to have conversation, like as a parent or grandparent
Mm-hmm.
or educator, to have to have real conversations, important conversations with little people. I call them little people. Your
Yes.
girls are not little any longer, but for parents who are interested, have conversations with your children.
Absolutely. And if your kids aren't open to it, like my girls used to get annoyed by all the woo-woo stuff they'd call it, you are leaving an impact simply by being mindful. I find my youngest daughter, who's 12, even if I'm like, hey guys, let's sit down and meditate, and they're like, no thanks. But in the morning when I wake her up, she's like, hold on, mom, I'm counting to 10. And
Mm-hmm.
so she keeps her eyes closed, and I notice her breathing deepens. And in her mind, she's, doing 1, 2, counting herself awake. And I mean, obviously, she came up with that on her own, but it's being influenced in some way, whether it's me or the outside world. And I just think I think it's such a beautiful practice, yes, to share with your kids and to do for yourself, right, to reduce stress.
Absolutely. And, creating your day is the best way to start. A lot of people just
Yeah.
wake up out of, and they have that regular, they just start with, oh my God, I have so much to do today. My body is aching. I don't want to go to work. So there's a lot of negative self chatter that
Yes.
starts early.
Yes.
And so,
Absolutely.
so this is such a great way to start moving away from that super early morning negative chatter to
Hmm.
something more beautiful and positive and healing and impactful for oneself, and obviously like the ripple effect the world.
Yes. Yep. You just read my mind, Ellie. I was just about to say ripple effect, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's Ellie.
Oh. Oh, so where can people find your book?
So they can find my book on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, basically any retailer, but it's called Rise Mini Mindful Morning Meditations.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, Julie, congratulations. And
Thank you.
you're pretty much out there. I actually learned about Insight Timer from you
Oh,
because
that's
of you
right.
have, yeah, you tell us about Insight Timer where people can follow you. Because beautiful presence on Insight Timer. I just love it.
Yeah,
I
well,
just, I'm
Insight.
so impressed with what you've done, girl. I'm so inspired
Oh,
by what you've done. I really am. I just got to backtrack. A lot of people, a lot of people call me and come to me and they say, I want to change my life, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a certain handful of people that actually not only change their own lives, but then really go and change the lives of other people. And that is why I'm so honored to have you here today. Julie, you have taken the work and you're walking your walk and talking your talk, and you're able now to help so many people in such a beautiful way. All right, so I'm going to shut up a second and tell
wow.
us about Insight Timer and your programs and what you do there. And everybody who's listening, head over to insighttimer.com and check out Julie's work. It's just one other platform that she's created to help people improve their lives on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you about Inside Timer, but then first I want to share at the top when I was taking some notes this morning over my coffee, the first thing I wrote down was if we want change, we need to create it. So
Mm-hmm,
I'll tell about Inside Timer quick, and then let's go back to that because I have some questions for
mm-hmm,
you as well.
mm-hmm, okay.
However, Insight Timer is this awesome global app. It looks like a little gold bowl. It's free. They have hundreds of thousands of meditations, and then they do weekly lives with all kinds of practitioners from all over the world. So it's meditation, it's breath work, talks. I mean, it is just the greatest resource to connect people. And a couple of years ago, in the start of isolation, I was like, okay, well, I need to connect with people. I need some community. And so I created a course for Insight Timer. And now I have 2 courses on there, and I do weekly lives about twice a week. So
Mm.
you can just, look up Julie Skon. You can follow me. And like I said, it's such a resource that anyone who wants a little mindful tune in you can do it 24 hours a day. It's amazing.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And now people can go find you there too. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Talk about
So
change.
yeah, I actually working with clients of coaching and myself on a very, personal note, the last couple of weeks have been just really hard. Like just feeling sad. It's like, that kind of breakdown you have before the breakthrough, and you're like, how
Hmm.
do I create this breakthrough? Because this is really hard. But so many people are going through it, which is okay. If you're listening to this and you're going through it, it's going to be okay. There are brighter days ahead. I just want to put that out there because I know how hard it can be. But at the truth of the matter, how I feel is that if we want to change, we need to create it, right? It is
Hmm.
in our power. And I guess I have a question for you as an intuitive. When you're doing, whether you're doing a reading or like when we've called and you've said, hey, this is going to happen. This is what, there's abundance out there. This is coming for you. We have to still do the work.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, you can see it, but if
Hmm.
if we're not doing it in our human bodies, it's never going to be unlocked.
Hmm. Hmm. So I'm going to just address that two parts to it. Like when I remember that we all have, there are so many parallel realities that can happen, right? There are, we can turn around and walk down the block and have a different experience than if we turn around and head to the pool, example. All right.
Yeah.
So as soon as we head to that, turn around, go down the block, we may meet somebody, our life may change. We go to the pool, we sit there, we may meet somebody, our life will change. So there, like every few seconds, there is a choice point. And so when I'm doing a reading and I'm seeing like, oh God, can I tell you what I see for you? So we're like live and I just can't stop. So I'm just going to
Yeah.
tell you anyway. It is the most incredible relationship. Okay. I
Ah.
see the most incredible relationship. And we could talk more about that later, but I just want to share. Let's use this as an example. Okay. So if you're not in this most super incredible relationship that is leading to a ring, and, if you're not in that, because I can't tell, this is just what's seeing, and I don't want to ask any questions right now. Okay. But I'm seeing this incredible relationship right now, deeply, deeply love relationship. Call it soulmate. We have many soulmate relationships. And this is the relationship I'm seeing you in is actually, let's call it happy family and rejoicing and a wedding. All right. So this is even like, hey, do I even want to ever get married again? Well, I'm seeing yes. Now, let's talk about that. If it's not in your life, this is a choice point. You can sit home and there's a you can sit home and it may still happen, and I'm going to tell you a story, or you have to actually take action, do something to take action. So I want to tell a crazy story, okay, and
Okay.
then we'll come back to you and to your work. We'll just all kind of converse. I did a reading for somebody, and I actually said, you're going to meet your husband at your door. Okay, you're going to meet your husband at your door. Now think about the craziness of that. Well, it's like, is he going to be the FedEx man? Like,
You're
no, he's
right.
not the FedEx man, all right, and he's not the postal man, and he's not UPS nor the maintenance worker. I just can't see the how on this one, but you're going to meet your man at your door. Okay. Fast forward, her daughter had a sweet 16 party. The father of one of the girls dropped off his daughter, and there he started talking. Then he came back to pick up his daughter at the end of the party. They continued talking. They started dating. They got married. True story.
Wow.
Okay. He came to her door. Okay, now what is the likelihood? Okay, like if we started, it's kind of like what's the likelihood of winning the lottery or winning the mega million? Probably one in billions, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're going to sit home and wait for your man to come to your door, it may not work for you. It
Yeah.
may not be. But what does one do? One can go on dating sites. One can um, be open to being in a relationship, and then we attract what we're open to. We attract what we want. So, does that answer your question? You got to take an action.
Yeah. Yes. It not only answers my question, but it speaks to my truth. So I want to share what I
Mhm.
just started this past week, and it has already changed my life. I took a real, and I think when I mentioned like I was kind of down in a relationship, I am very open to. I'm so ready for. I've done the work. I want to show up. I want the love. I want all of these things, and um, for a while I was kind of focused on, well, why isn't it working for me?
Mhm,
Or
mhm,
I would
mhm,
meet incredible people, but who weren't available, meaning they didn't want a relationship right now, or their jobs take them away for the whole time, or whatever the
mhm.
reason was, or they want, I don't know, all kinds of things. So I was like, okay, either I'm really not available, that's why I'm attracting it, so let me kind of focus in on do this work. So I created this thing called 100 Days of Soul Play.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yes, and
Uh-huh.
Elly is so awesome on so many levels. And I'm going to just share the kind of steps to it for anyone who's listening, who's curious on
And tell them where
creating.
they can follow this so they can follow along because it's you just
Yeah,
started, okay? So
I
I saw,
just
yeah,
started.
so there's plenty of time to get on board.
Yes, exactly. I think social media, Instagram is the best. So just at Julie Skon. And my website is My Rituel. So it's MYRITUELLE.com. But definitely Instagram is a great place to start. And I have a feeling I'm going to plant the seed. I think this might be,
Julie Skon, say that again. I'm
yep,
writing it down.
at Julie Scon. Yes.
Okay, for Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So here I was, really down, really like wondering, okay, I want to create abundance. I love the word abundance, not because it's too much, it's and everyone uses it, but I'm like in health, in wealth, in love, in happiness, and I wasn't doing it because my mindset was stuck on lack, right?
Right.
So I sat down one night and I got really clear on what I want, and which is what I just said. I'm like, I want abundance in all of these areas.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and this was the tough part, I got very clear with myself and honest and real on what is not working for me. So, what are the self-limiting beliefs that I'm waking up with right now in the morning, like being hard on
Mm-hmm.
myself, not celebrating my wins, habits
Mm-hmm.
like right
Mm-hmm.
now, having even just a little like bit of wine, it's a depressant, it's making me more down, so I'm just being very clean and clear and toxic free right now.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are not working for me, right? So then
Mm-hmm.
I did the super fun part and I created a bucket list of joy.
I love that. I love that. Mm-hmm.
And these are from small things. Like yesterday, my daughter and I went. I live by the ocean, and we went. We ran in, and it was cold, and we just got present. It didn't have we didn't have our phones. We weren't talking about the things we were going to do later in the day. It was like, let's just dive in. And we had the best conversation and the best time. So these are bucket list things. They could be huge. It could be one huge thing for people, or it's just like, you know what? I want to watch the sunrise and the sunset on the same day. I want to
Mm-hmm.
write a
Mm-hmm.
letter to someone I love. Like, I want to go horseback ride. Like, whatever it is. And that's what I love about people. We're all so different. We all have different things that make us happy. And they don't have to cost money, right? This is just about connecting to what brings you joy, what lights your heart up, what sparks that happiness. And then it starts the 100 days of soul play. So,
Mm-hmm.
and soul play is exactly what you just kind of tapped into. If I'm meeting my person, it's kind of, what does my soul want to do? Which do I want to go, like you said, out to the pool? Do I want to go in this direction? Like, what is my intuition calling me to go do? And then just being open to the possibilities, open to the connections, and open to the signs that come. And I'm telling you, Elly, in just a few days of doing this, like, I'm happier, I'm
Mm-hmm.
healthier,
Mm-hmm.
I'm already meeting more people. I have more work opportunities coming my way than I have in a really long time, and I'm closer to my girls and closer to myself. And it's working. That's all I know.
And I'm going to say, and it's why, and why it's working, right? I mean, for those of us who need to have reasons, you do understand why it's working. Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you
Yes.
what.
Yes, tell me, you tell me why it's working.
All right, because you're actually now in an effervescent vibration. Okay, so
Mm,
you've raised your frequency, and the moment that you start to raise your frequency, well, lo and behold, what's going to happen? You're going to start to attract things. Move faster when we're vibrating. You know, and these are such cliches, but we don't have
mm,
language for this. So think
yeah,
about the electrons and the molecules and everything vibrating really quickly at a higher frequency attracts like to it faster than the heavier, denser mass to mass.
yes,
The sadness, the depression. Oh, yeah, you'll get that, but it's a heavy energy and it will
mm-hmm,
attract more of that and it will take longer to move out of. Whereas now you're in joy. And what does
yeah,
joy bring? Abundance, right? You're going to bring
yes,
abundance, happiness, good experiences. Like,
yes,
it's so cool. And you know what I love about this? That um, people can do this with their families. This can become a family activity. It's not just
yeah.
a one-on, yeah. Mhm.
That's so true. And even, yeah, the language with my girls is like, what's your soul feeling? Where do you want to go? What direction right now? And it's like, I want a smoothie. Cool. Let's go get a smoothie. You
Yeah,
know?
and isn't that amazing to be in an absolute touch with that? Okay, like to really be in touch with what do I want right now? Like, what is
Yeah.
my body calling for? What is my soul longing for? And then to listen, and then also to take action, right? Taking action
Yes.
on it. Mm-hmm.
And it's unconditioning, right? The past. It's,
Mm-hmm.
go, 9 to 5 need, I must work harder in order to create more. And in fact, I think what I'm finding is that's not the case. It's like life has all of these amazing things to bring to you, and I work when I'm creatively lit up and it's aligned, instead of, I mean, I could get something done in an hour that if I sat for 10 hours in that, like you said, that heavier space, it's not going to happen. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
flow.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Yeah.
you're feeling overwhelmed, take the pedal off, go do something aligned with your happiness, and like watch the magic that happens.
Absolutely. I love that. It's wonderful. It's exciting and it's going to be fun to watch if everybody's interested to follow along and participate. And I bet you're open to people relating their stories and sharing their experiences.
Oh my, I would love it. I would
So,
absolutely love it.
yeah, so Julie, you're consulting now, correct? You're doing consulting, and do you want to tell
I'm
people a little
coaching.
bit about, okay, do you coaching, sorry. Do you want to share a little bit about that in case any of our listeners are interested in working with you, you
I would
know?
love to. I love coaching so much. And I say I'm a life and trauma healing coach. But it's really, I think, just like anything, coaching kind of finds you when you're ready for transformation. So with trauma, um, we know we have this inner knowing of when it's time to kind of let it go, right? And also when it's getting in our way. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
trauma has a way of living in our subconscious, as you know, Ellie, and kind of tricking us to stay in survival mode.
mm-hmm,
So if we're finding blocks, whether it is in love or career, whatever it is, often it lies in a negative situation in the past. So I do a process called the E4 trauma method that was taught to me by a woman named Dr. Erin, who's incredible.
mm-hmm,
But we basically, it's very gentle. It's a very vulnerable space. We do it all over Zoom. And you unlock the trauma by looking at it and repeating the story that you've created. And then we look at some commands that you've placed, which are these are the self limiting beliefs that act out now. We look at them, we release them, and we reframe them. So anytime this past comes up, you can powerfully in the moment reframe it and step into the new version of you. So if trauma is what people are carrying, I help you unlock it. I help you make big, powerful shifts in your life if that's what you're looking for. And often it's, they're not even huge things sometimes. It's navigating health, it's navigating relationships, career choices, getting clarity on decisions, whatever it is. I just love the transformation process, as I'm sure you do as well. But yeah, so with coaching, you can, again, social media works, but I already named my website. So I'm happy to answer any questions around that. I know trauma healing can be intimidating for some people until you go through the process. And I'm telling you, it is life changing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm so glad that you're doing this, and I'm so glad that you chose to do this. And
Thank you.
yeah, and I'm so happy that you're here with us at this early hour. So, kind of going to wrap it up, Julie. So, if there's
Okay.
anything that you want to share now, and just like really tell people where they can, again, tell people where they can find you, tell them anything that at all that you want, because yeah, we want people to
Um,
find you. I
yes,
want
we
people to
do.
find you.
Well, thank you for this, Ellie. I love this. You've made my day. And thank you to everyone listening. I'm Julie Skon. You can order my book Rise on Amazon or Barnes& and Noble, wherever you like to go shopping for books. But again, contact me at Julie Skon. Contact me for coaching, for questions. I'm happy to answer anything. And yes, please join the 100 Days of Soul Play with me. There'll be more to come on that, but it's going to be, I think, a movement because it truly adds joy.
Yeah, that's so great. I'm going to play with you also. Okay.
Yay, Ellie!
Yeah. All right, Julie. And thank you, everybody who's here on the weekly live podcast. One comment over here: living in the now, letting go of energy that doesn't belong to you. That's right.
Yes.
Beautiful. So I want to thank everybody listening live who's been with us, and thank you, especially Julie, for coming on at this hour, and also our guests who are live, who came on also from Washington State and all over early. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. This podcast will be up on all platforms. Julie, I will share that with you in a few
Amazing.
minutes. And in the meantime, Julie, you're going to keep me posted because I see you're going to be attracting something really, really fun.
I feel it too. I will. I'm claiming that in these next 100 days, I
All
think
right,
I'm
I
going to
see
meet my
it.
person.
I know you. So I know you're going to meet your person. Okay,
Ah,
and I'm going to call him King of Kings in this
oh,
case. All right, yeah,
okay. Me too.
King of Kings. All right.
Bring it on, King of
Yep.
Kings.
Yep.
Thank
Wonderful.
you, Ellie, so much for
Thank
all that you
you.
do.
Thank you. And ditto to you. And everybody go, please follow Julie. She's delightful. She's sunshine. Sunshine.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
thank you.
Okay. Thank
All
you. Lots of love. Okay. Bye,
yes, lots of
everybody.
love.
Thanks for being
Bye.
here. Bye bye.